Yay.
Thank you for joining today on another episode of Industrial Amputation. Joining us is Vinnie Saletto. Thank you, Vinnie.
Hello, hello, and it's good to
Hello.
Hello,
be
Vinny.
here.
Good to be here. Got my co-host Joey Galvan and Charles Levi.
Lily. How do I do these? How do I do how do I do
Excellent.
the
Excellent.
bass there?
Oh
Yeah.
my. It just his hand is actually just dissolving away when he does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's what he
That's
does.
that plan's really getting me. I gotta come
Yeah.
back.
Okay, so I
Finally.
guess we can kick this off. Vinny, you're in a band called Giant Monsters on the Horizon with
Yes.
Madison Olivia Davis and
Yep.
Cara Ristow.
Uh-huh.
The music has been described as optimizing the pitch black goodness of the retro futuristic movement, armed with shimmering synths, heavy blues inspired guitars, vocoders, and ambition as robust as the beats. That's quite a
Yeah.
description.
Well,
Can you
That's
please provide some backstory on the formation of this band?
oh man. Well, I mean, it was actually kind of kismet, if you will. I was I used to live in Florida, moved up to St. Louis to be with my wife and all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I have a friend of mine by the name of Greg who had a podcast here about video games. And Greg turned to his co-host Madison and said, "Hey, you like the industrial sound and the electronic vibe and everything. You should meet Vinny." And
mm,
we hit it off like nobody's business because the funny thing is that we actually, while I was living in Tampa and she was living in Fort Lauderdale, she would come up from Fort Lauderdale to shows at like the State Theater in St. Petersburg or
uh,
over at the Masquerade over in Tampa and Ybor City.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so she and I have actually been to a number of shows together without even knowing each other.
Oh, wow.
And one of them in particular at the State Theater, I believe, had a certain bassist that we all seem to know and love.
Okay.
Charles.
Yeah, yeah. I like steak.
Yeah, State Theater. And there was also a pig face show over at the Rub, which was right next door to the Masquerade over in Ybor City. And it's kind of funny that we were in a lot of these shows together, but never knew each other. So we came up here, all of a sudden we have so much in common. One of my
Mm,
favorite drummers is this guy by the name of Angel Bartolotta. He runs um, he runs like a School of Rocky sort of
Oh,
yeah.
school down there. They call it the Rock Box. That's it, the Rock Box.
awesome.
And Angel, he had a friend of his by the name of Danny Rendo, who had a band called DeCambrio that I did some remixes for. And Danny was actually good friends with Madison when they were both living down in Fort Lauderdale. So
Wow.
it's one of those things. I call it like aggregation.
Yeah.
The people, yes, I get a little nerdy sometimes,
That's
but
all right.
the
It's
people
hilarious.
who have
Yeah.
the same vibe as you will always find a way to meet you,
Yeah.
Uh,
and this just it's been wonderful ever since,
all right.
That
Yeah,
is
that's good.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Um,
captivates you about Kara as a vocalist?
The thing is, she has, when I first met her, she was in and still is in this sort of acoustic duo where she plays piano, her husband plays acoustic guitar, and they sing, and it's somewhat folky. It's this band called West End Junction. But I wanted to find someone who was out of the loop as far as the whole electronic scene, because
Mhm.
when it comes to electronic music, a lot of people they use that weird scratchy voice where they sound like they're talking distorted through a
Yeah.
megaphone.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can't hum that at a kitchen sink, but what Kara does, you can hum.
yeah.
You know,
That's
and I
awesome.
think that's important when writing
Yeah.
good songs.
Yeah.
Something that people can take with them.
Yeah.
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 Damn right.
No, that is
Damn.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. I just can't
So
wait.
you were massively involved with the Retronomicon tribute for Charles Levi. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, an incredible release. Absolutely stellar.
Thank
Just
you.
all the
And there's
talent on there.
definitely
Agreed.
there definitely will be more in the series. So
Yeah, no, that, oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
yeah.
So, can you talk about your involvement in the project?
Sure. It kind of started because Charles introduced me to a guy by the name of Nick Void over in, I guess, is he Iowa or Ohio?
Peoria. Peoria.
Peoria.
Peoria.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's in Peoria, and which is good. I gotta visit him sometime.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but we started working on that track, Desperate but Not Serious.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
whole idea originally was take that track, hand it to Charles, have Charles kind of just come out with something
Yeah.
on bass, and then like, kind of throw that in, not throw that in, but
Yeah.
place that in. And that was all fun and good, but I know, Charles, you had some issues with regard to the neuropathy in your
Yeah.
fingers that
Yeah.
you're working on, and that's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the time, I'm like, man, this guy needs help. Here's what we're gonna do, and I kind of shifted gears, and
Yeah. Thank you.
I made a call, not a call, but like an open call to
Uh-huh.
all of my musician friends to say, hey, can you contribute a song to this in particular vibe? And I
Yeah.
basically I went with the 80s only because for some reason that music just seems to have just such a mystical connection
Mhm.
Yeah.
to a lot of
Yeah.
the musicians who are in the industrial scene.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
started listening to new wave,
With that.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then like
Names. Yeah.
yeah. And then like how Uncle Al went from his Cold Life and Every Day
Yeah.
is Halloween,
Yeah.
and eventually made it over to,
To metal.
Psalm 69.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I know.
I always thought it was an interesting progression that
Yeah.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
particular,
Yeah. That
I thought
was.
it was very even too.
Yeah. I
Yes.
Because
remember.
I know when
Yeah.
Land of Rape and Honey came out, I had people were like, "This is so different." I was like, "Oh, what happened to With Sympathy?" And I'm like, "Did you not listen
I
to
know.
anything between With Sympathy and now?
Yeah.
Because there is a progression.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you
If you
know,
Yeah.
listen
He
to With
was.
Sympathy, then you listen
Yeah.
to Twitch,
yeah,
and then you
Yeah.
listen to Land of Rape and
Exactly.
Honey,
yeah,
and then
Yeah.
yeah,
You know
then there was that
something?
other one, The Mind is a Terrible
the
Thing to
mind is a
Everything to
Taste.
terrible thing to
taste.
taste.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
what
Oh
an
my
amazing
God.
album that was.
I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
He was I was in the studio at Tracks and just observing
Mm-hmm.
and he had just gotten a Les Paul's custom guitar.
Mm.
Um and he said he was standing there just messing around with it. He goes, "Man, fuck all this electronic shit, silver electronics there. So I'm playing this guitar and shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this
oh
shit.
man,
Let's get
Hell yeah.
guitars." So it went from With Sympathy and all that stuff to, like you said, straight up, balls
yeah,
out, my terrible thing to taste.
Yeah.
yeah,
And he just went blitzkrieg on it. He just went nuts.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Louis and all those guys, I got to see that all happen. That's the first time I saw Triggers.
mm,
I
yeah,
saw a
Mm-hmm.
raggedy fucking drum kit.
yeah,
And I go, "Bill, you playing this drum kit? These are pieces." He goes, "Yeah." And he started doing the mic check. And it was like, I was like, "Oh my God." I
yeah,
jumped off my feet. These are triggers. They sound like cannons.
yeah.
Yes.
And he had gotten the sound, believe it or not, from Cameo.
Oh,
Word
dude,
up.
Yeah,
yes,
the
yes,
drums.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
He
That's
got
oh
it
my
from
God, that's
Cameo.
right. Yeah,
Okay, I know what
So,
I'm sampling tonight.
yeah, right.
yeah. So
But yeah,
yeah.
so the
You can't go wrong with
Retronomicon.
Cameo.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, you can never go wrong with Cameo.
No.
I'm always,
Yeah.
you see, that's the thing. Also, I'm always hoping when putting these albums together that a lot of bands, come up with something that's just really out of
I
the
do.
loop to
Yeah.
throw in. Cameo's Word Up as done by Korn. Have you heard that one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
Yeah.
haven't heard
No, just incredible. Absolutely
mhm.
incredible. Yeah.
it.
So, but yeah, okay, so I know what I'm sampling tonight.
Yeah.
But Retronomicon, I just decided get all my favorite musicians because we can all pool together. And I will tell you this, I'm not going to say numbers right now, but
Yeah.
this thing has far exceeded what I was thinking it would be. It practically doubled, and
Wow.
I am so thankful for the people to actually come out and support this, you know?
Yeah.
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 I'm
No,
surprised
it's
too, man. Oh,
Yeah.
Benny, you
yeah.
really gave me a blessing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know,
We've been
I,
blasting
you
this.
know,
We've been blasting it. Yeah.
you
It's
Yeah.
know, I'm doing, it makes me it gives me anticipation to
Mhm.
really venture into editing and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
bless you very much, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know,
thank you.
we'll
Thank you.
talk
Thank
about
you.
that, about the editing thing and everything, but
Yeah.
back to you. Um, you're you want to get the other stuff like the other artists involved and get their their active and stuff and hopefully uh not to hone in on me, but it's given me enough inspiration to put out a new urban soundtrack, which is
Yes.
basically um which is basically Chris and Bangalore versus Levi. But the
Mhm.
urban soundtrack featuring Bangalore, I wanted to get like a Barry Adamson kind of
Yes.
feel,
Oh,
you
I
know.
love Barry
Yeah,
Adamson.
Yeah.
yeah. I
That
want to
that
get a Barry Anderson feel
Yeah.
that
and
whole
stuff.
Oedipus Schmidipus.
Yeah.
I My wife thinks I'm crazy when I blast Mitch and Andy from the
Uh-huh.
speakers that I have here, but I mean, come on. Is there a more perfect song?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But then again,
Awesome.
like, okay, Christmas time. One of my personal favorite Christmas songs of all is Christmas Card. I think it's called Christmas Card from a Hooker in Minneapolis
Mm.
by Tom Waits.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just something beautiful about it. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Just
Yeah.
me.
There's not much
Yes.
not beautiful
So
about
yeah,
anything Tom Waits does.
Hmm.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's
I
yeah. Yeah.
I love adding in blues inspired stuff to spooky dark
Uh-huh.
music, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, I had, let's see, um, so I was with the Genitortures. I had to leave the Genitortures mainly because, well, finances that I was going through. I'll admit I had a bit of a spending problem, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh,
We you both.
had to stay in a main 9 to 5 job and everything like that.
Yeah.
But in the interim, I actually had a blues band that I was playing with called the Ashes of Grissom, Grisum.
Oh wow.
Check that out on
Okay.
Spotify for a really different sort of thing. And all I did there, I made sure no sequencing or any
Uh-huh.
of that sort of stuff. I just had two keyboards and whatever patches I could bring up.
Oh
You
wow.
know,
Uh,
so it was mainly piano and Hammond organ and that sort of sound. Matter of fact, when we recorded live, we actually recorded a real Hammond organ with the Leslie speakers and
wow.
Nice.
everything like
Wow.
that. Yeah.
I love that.
So that's something for a little bit of further homework,
Oh,
everybody.
right on, man.
Um, but it's just, and ever since then, I've always wanted to bring in sort of like that blues energy and
Mm.
sound to things that require the computer to give a steady, heavy beat to it, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why I'm glad y'all have been hearing that Revolt album that we did back in 2018 is starting to get some
Yep.
play, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know Levi beforehand? Like, how did you guys meet?
Uh, we met uh on the
The
through
Sounds
the
and
internet.
Shadows group.
Sounds and Shadows. Yeah.
Good
Sounds
old
and Shadows.
Yeah, Ken
Yeah.
Magerman has a wonderful Facebook group and a website called Sounds and Shadows. And the thing that I love about it, I was introduced to it by Betty X. Thank you, Betty. Is that unlike a lot of other boards that really dealt with the whole electronic scene and everything like that, this one had the actual musicians that I know and love. You know,
Okay.
Raymond
Yeah.
Watts is on there. You're on there, Charles.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Daniel Graves from Aesthetic Perfection chimes in. So it's really nice. It's a wonderful thing to like hear the professional side of what's going on and
Uh-huh.
the hurdles they overcome so that as you're working you could help it go together. And I
Yeah.
know I've sent in a couple of paragraphs here and there about how to set up for live and how to set up for a
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there was one in particular time I just remember posting saying, "Hey, I could use help with lyrics and vocals and things like that because I, you
Yeah.
know, that's one of my weaker sides."
Hmm.
And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, just got to chatting with Charles, which is so fun to me
Yeah.
because, and I will tell you because I've told him many a times, 1995 it was when Prick opened up
Oh, yeah.
for um, the Lords of Acid and My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
will tell you, when Thrill
Wow.
Kill Cult was on, and all of a sudden there is just this looming figure that's all about the low end, and
Yeah.
it just the cool, smooth way, Charles,
Yeah.
that got me hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is like one
Thank
of
you.
those memorable moments, you know,
Mhm.
that I
Yeah.
remember 1992 when I went to Lollapalooza when Ministry was performing. And I never knew at the time, it was 92, I never knew they made the transition. To me, it was always just, oh, last I heard from Ministry was With Sympathy.
See-
So here I am. I am
Lord have
literally
mercy.
in a floral shirt, mom jeans, I would say, because they were kind of light,
Yeah.
and penny loafers. And I say to my friend Ed, who was with me at the time, I say, Ed, we just finished watching Ice Cube. Let's get a little closer so that this way, and I forget who the headlining band was, we could be there front and center.
Yeah.
No idea what a mosh pit was. No idea that
Oh
Ministry
man.
changed their sound. All of a sudden, they start with NWO, and I am literally in the middle of the pit. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. And like
Lord.
Oh my
5 minutes
God.
later, I finally catch Ed, and I'm like, okay, let's get the hell out of here. But man, just the
Yeah.
fact that it was a band that used samplers and triggers and was not afraid to do it, and the fucking rocked the way they did.
Yeah.
Once again, life-changing moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That Land of Rape and
Yeah.
Honey show. I saw that one in when that came out. It was at a little place that we used to go as an underground dance club called
right.
Scoochie's. I think it had been changed to the Oz by the time they played, and everybody, they come out, they get on stage, and they bring out this big ass cooler full of Coronas. Al's got a big old bottle of Jack Daniels or Jim Beam or something, but he's cracking these things open. It's an all age show. He's cracking them open. He's taking a slug of the Corona and then he's tossing it out in the crowd. And then the music came on, and
Yeah.
I swear to God, everybody that was in that place was waiting to hear With Sympathy, and I'm sitting there. I've been with them since With Sympathy, but I've been following the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a game changer. That was an
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolute game changer.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah.
And there are a
Yeah.
few game-changing moments,
Yeah.
that one, the one with Charles,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which is funny because that was just a couple of months before I actually joined the Genitorturers.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, that was the my first tour with them was when it was Jen with God Lives Underwater and KMFDM.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Got something to
And
The
show you
lineup.
here.
huh?
That's a lineup.
Something to show you here.
Oh yeah,
oh,
that's the one.
That's the
That is the
one.
one. and I think I am somewhere. I know the T-shirt has Vinnie Stiletto. Am I in there?
I don't
Yeah.
see. I think you're one of the guys on the back,
Yeah,
on the in the background, right about
it's
there.
possible. Yeah,
So, but those might be gimps. It's a little dark where I'm at.
right, right.
So, she did like her gimps.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
Hey, Jim.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember when we played the Palace in Los Angeles. Huge
Oh,
place.
mhm,
And oh God, it was so amazing. And the bass player, I didn't know his name, but the bass player from Prick was backstage.
mhm,
Jen introduced me to him, and the funny thing was that, and I feel bad for not remembering his name because he introduced, when he was introduced, he turned to me and he actually said, "Oh, you're Vinny," and then shook my
uh-huh,
hand. And I'm like, well, yeah, and it was the first time like the music and the sequencing that I was doing was actually getting noticed by bands
yeah,
that I'm absolutely in love with,
Yeah.
oh,
so
It's a good
yeah,
yeah,
feeling.
it
Yeah.
is a great feeling.
Yeah.
So, you know, so
yeah.
man, did we get off track or are we good? I,
No, 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 no.
We
Actually,
do.
all right.
this leads into we were wanting to ask about some of the stage shows with Genitortures.
Yeah.
Sure, they're
Can you
legendary.
tell us some stories? I mean, this is legendary territory here.
I mean, to
Yeah.
be honest with you, I, since I would always say, I'm a little bit more of the nerd backstage, checking out the sound and everything like that. I mean, I remember there was one in particular time, uh, we played a show called the Festival of Freaks in Toronto, and in Toronto, it was to like 3,500 people or so.
Mhm.
I remember because it was uh, we actually had more people coming to our show than the Who had at a show that same day. But it was
Oh, wow.
August of '97, and not to kibosh the Who, I love
No.
them, but
Another who, yeah.
uh, but I just remember running sound. I was actually this time I was front of house running sound for the band, and they had Craig, one of the gimps, if you will, one of the
Mhm.
performers.
There's more than one.
Yeah, he gets
Yeah.
up there, and the guy looks like Jesus. He absolutely. So we played into it, got him the crown of thorns, and got him the,
Oh,
with
awesome.
actual thorns, got him, the robes and everything.
Yeah.
And right by his crotch, we put in a fake penis,
Yeah.
because the whole idea was that he was to let his penis out, and Jen would just hammer it into a piece of wood. And
Oh,
when that
Jen is awesome.
happened, I just remember watching it, watching all the light guys around me look in absolute horror
Oh,
and disgust. And for some reason, I just started laughing. And when I started laughing, the guys who were on either side of me, all of a sudden, that same look of horror and disgust turned right to me, as if to say, oh shit, we've got one here in the booth. So,
Lord have
yeah.
mercy.
Oh my
Oh, they
Yeah,
God,
were
that's
fun
awesome.
times. They were
yeah,
absolute fun times. And
Oh
like I said,
man.
I've never
yeah.
been I've never been the outgoing guy on stage or anything like that. For me, I've always been more a behind the scenes musician. Uh, you know,
Hmm.
so I really
Hmm.
don't have many stories to that regard.
Yeah.
I know when it came to recording Sin City, we were doing tracking in a warehouse in Tampa,
Hmm.
and it did not really have central heat and air. It had just one of these one Woolworth style air conditioners in this one room that was trying its best. But I tell you, the heat in that place. So what we would do is we would take a huge basin of water I would take off my shoes and socks, and I would literally have my feet standing in this cold water so that this way I can continue tracking for the
Oh wow.
Tortures for the Sin City album
Oh
and
my
later the
Yeah.
gosh.
Machine Love album. And it's just,
Yeah.
you did what you
Talk about
had to do to
suffering for
get
your
things.
art, man.
Oh, yeah. You did what you had to do to get things done, and
Yeah.
we did
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
definitely say Sin City is one of those albums where I listen to it from time to time and I just think, wow, we really did something that's good, you know.
That's
I
brilliant.
I
Yeah.
think the songs stand the test of
They
time, you
do.
know.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
it's absolutely fantastic. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well,
Can
Mm.
you
thank
talk
you.
about Paraluna Records, the label?
Yeah, I mean basically the idea here, and you can actually check it out at paraluna.com, is I want to use my creative gifts and the creative gifts of others in order to help those who are in need.
Mm.
That's really the gist of it. That's the mission.
Hmm.
Yes.
So this was just it was one of those things where like, well, I could go and I could try and I could beg with Cop International, or I could go and try and beg with Metropolis or any of
Mm.
the other labels that exist out there. But in this day and age, a person just needs to know a little bit about publishing and everything like that and go to imusician.com
Yeah.
and they can help with the distribution of the stuff. So
Yeah.
between that, getting your rights to perform these things as far as streaming and everything like that. And then you take that, you go to Bandcamp, and release. And it's digital only right now, but I mean,
Mm.
wow,
That's good.
yeah, you can
That's
do it
fucking
all
awesome.
by yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why I decided we're going to help Charles. We're going to
Uh,
do some releases that help a friend of ours named Gabe Wilkinson,
mm.
who's going through some issues. And
Mm.
hell, I'm hoping someone could do this for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
That's
Right.
another
Yeah.
Well, I gotta
thing.
say, man, I appreciate so much that aspect of creativity and the art scene, especially in our little industrial scene. And
Yeah.
it tends to have a lot of people that really give a crap about other people, and that's one of the cool things I've found about Bandcamp and these platforms like Patreon.
Uh-huh.
I feel
Yeah.
really good that my money goes directly into the artist's pocket now. I feel very good that I'm
Yeah.
helping support people doing what they're doing,
Yeah.
and the money's going directly where I want it to. And when you've got people like you doing these things, it's benefit things, and it's like it's not getting chopped out and going to administrative crap. And
Right. Right.
this is very
Yada yada.
fundamentally a great thing.
Yep. This is as grassroots
It's
as I could make it.
Yeah. So
it's not
so
going in
I
there.
applaud you, man, and I appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'll say my co-author Madison with Giant Monsters on the Horizon,
Mm.
she's the one who came up with the name Power Luna Records. Hell, she's the one who came up with the name Retronomicon.
That's a
Uh,
great name.
you know,
Yes. Yes.
I mean, she's brilliant when it comes to that sort of stuff. We actually Giant Monsters on the Horizon, which is also a name that she came up with. Uh, I just have a problem naming things. Um, but I'll say with Giant Monsters on the Horizon, we have a song actually called Paraluna. And it was one of those things where as we're listening to it, it's like, man, this feels like such a perfect amalgam of Madison's style, my style, and Kara's style
Yeah.
that like we want to move forward with it. And all of a sudden, this whole Power Luna Records thing just came about, you
Oh,
know?
Yeah. Awesome.
well,
Awesome.
thank you.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I know another thing that Charles and I have in common. I don't know if you could see it here, these scars,
Hmm.
but
Uh,
I do kidney dialysis myself 3 times a week.
Oh, wow. I've
And
got a few
so
friends that are
yeah,
doing that too. It's
yeah, I'm in stage 4 kidney failure.
oh
Oh,
wow.
Um, but it's one of those where like you got to do what you got to do. But
gotta do. Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
Charles and I, we egg ourselves on and we
Yeah,
egg each other on because,
yeah,
as I say to him, we are warriors.
yeah.
Precisely.
Definitely,
We
definitely.
will keep going.
Precisely.
We'll
Yeah.
keep fighting.
Thank you. Yeah,
You know,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Today was. ah, Today it's so cold out here, Vinny. I don't know
mhm.
if it was like where you're at, but
About
it's
28
cold.
degrees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're down. We're 9 degrees.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
Woo.
and yeah, and just doing this podcast keeps me going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means which is good for me. And on top of that, getting the editing stuff down. I want to get that down. I got to get that down. You know, and then we have our doctor's appointments and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm almost thinking, no, which I'm not going to. I was going to say, why don't I get an intern or something? Nah, fuck that. And that's the thing. Martin Atkins, he's done that before with good results.
Yeah.
Right.
But he can, he's got more of a vast uh, a collective for
Yeah.
all those things. So maybe I can do the same thing in time. But meanwhile, I'm going to learn how to do it my damn self from the best.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
And you are the best, you
Ah,
know.
thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
you are the best. And I'm gonna get down those. I'm physically capable of once I get the recording down, I'll be able to put down the bass tracks to the songs you
Hmm.
already sent. So I
Mhm.
still have them in my files,
Wonderful.
and it's on. It's on. And I saw Nick Boyd, who's going to be on our show. We're going to, I met Nick on the train,
Right.
and this guy looked at me and he says, "Well, you're not just slick, but you're Levi." And
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah." We talked on it. I took a train from San Francisco all the way to Chicago, and it's a really good route, good
Yeah.
Hmm.
travel, and it was cool. That's where I saw. I had to go, but I saw a Mac and a like a Mac versus a regular laptop in
Right.
one. It's like a Mac
Oh,
Wish.
yeah.
I don't know what
They
they
have
call it.
them.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
like it was. I don't know. I haven't seen it since. I haven't seen it in Chicago or in Denver, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
They were working on a Mac, but it wasn't a Mac. It was a Mac, you
Wow.
know, with
What
a
they
regular
call a
tab.
virtual machine.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Or basically you can run the Mac operating software within a
yeah,
PC. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's amazing
And
what you
Wow.
can do.
That may be what I need to get a hold of. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's what I want to get. I want to get that because Mac for multimedia is the shit.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to. But with you don't have to do all that because you got
Right.
the stuff down pat.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where nowadays I'll say the tools that are available to a musician, uh, like I use Reason Studios
Uh-huh.
for my DAW, what they call, because the digital audio workstation,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because to me I love the feel of the hardware, sort of like amalgam
Uh-huh.
to the software, and it's like it feels good when I hit the tab key and all of a sudden I see all these cables that I can move around,
Yeah.
you
Uh-huh.
know. And I use a PC myself because between
Mm.
that and all the Adobe products that I use for, graphic design and for
Yeah.
video editing and things like
Yeah.
that, you can get them on any system.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why, to me, I spent $1,000 and I got this state of the art, really top of the line, crisscross, crosscut, fuck you up, kind of PC here.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it's got It's got a couple of terabytes of solid state drives, which means
Yeah,
there are no mechanical parts. And I've got
yeah.
like 32 gigs of RAM, or was it 64? Anyway,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah, I
got to get
just,
solid state.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
yeah.
gonna get.
You're making me drool a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, Danny's ex is he's got a good beat on some solid state. Uh,
wonderful.
you know, priest of stuff, and so I'm gonna go ahead and get that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Um, but I just really want to. I just got to get this going. I really want it. It will really put a place input in my life right now.
We're going to
Really
make
does.
this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're going to make it happen because we're warriors. We keep
yeah,
on doing this stuff.
yeah.
The next Retronomicon album, I'm not exactly sure what the title is going to be, but the volume 2 is going to be music of the 1990s this time.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
trying to convince one of the guys. I think Bangalore. Trying to
Uh-huh.
convince him to do that song "You Get What You Give" by the New Radicals, just because it's such a
Oh,
happy,
Ooh, nice.
happy song, and it's
uh,
my wife's favorite song. So I'm
oh,
using this podcast as a means to hopefully put a little bit of pressure on him and say, "Hey,
yeah,
can you do this? Can
I'm
you?"
just I'm
yeah.
just gonna put out there right now that
Hmm.
if TLC's Waterfalls isn't on there,
Oh,
sad.
hell yeah.
I'm gonna be sad if that's not on there.
Hell yeah.
you know,
We
uh,
can make that happen. We can
Yeah.
make that happen.
I like the rhythm track for what's her name? It's the rhythm track for the girl that married trying to think of her name. Um, Rihanna.
Rihanna. Okay.
Rihanna. Umbrella.
Yes.
I love the rhythm track on that. That is very industrial, very off the
Yeah.
commercial rhythm track.
Yeah.
That's just
That
that's just like it just breeds a hit.
you're ready for an interesting connection there.
Yeah.
This guy, there's an engineer by the name of Rob Skipworth, or at least he was an engineer. He actually does, different work now. But for a while, he was in a recording studio. I think it was called Silent Partner or something like that over in Atlanta. And that was a track that he engineered.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my
Wow.
God. Wow.
And the reason why I say that is because he's actually a good friend of mine that I met thanks to my wife as I was traveling up here from
Oh.
Mm,
Tampa to St. Louis. So,
yeah.
it was a perfect
Yeah.
stopping point in Atlanta, and she introduced me. Good guy,
Uh,
really good guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
wow. Last time I was in St. Louis uh, to do with music, anything
Hmm.
was I put the track together called Rich Girl,
Okay.
and I did it in the bedroom and the closet of an apartment in Massillon, Ohio,
Hmm.
and what it was, I wanted to, I was didn't have a girlfriend. I was in I was in somewhere near Canton, Ohio,
Right.
and and I got I got bum rushed by this. I got really devastated from this being you know played by this girl, and so I walked into the store, and I walked to the store, and there was these beautiful women talking about their escrow accounts and stuff like that, and I was like, damn, I got to get me a rich girl, and got drunk, and I came up with a song. I got to get a
Nice.
rich girl. It's on a urban soundtrack,
Hell
and
yeah.
uh, and Buzz mixed it for me,
Hmm.
but I just came up with it. I said, I got to get a rich girl, and then played on the keyboards, and
Nice.
that that was just a spontaneous sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I always wanted to remix that song, Rich
Oh,
Girl,
hell yeah.
but
Yeah.
you got
You
to
got
listen
the
to it.
If you got the tracks, I'd be glad to remix it for you.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. you
All
know.
right.
Well,
Oh,
definitely. Yeah,
stuff's
yeah,
brewing. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was so mad at 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 my association with women. I was like going, I got to get myself a hoe with dough. You know, that's and the engineer came up with that, you know.
Oh my God. Oh,
and, and so I just kept, it was humorous, And he
Yeah.
says, "Man, Levi, let's add. I had to give myself a hoe with dough." And I go, "Wow!" And so he started singing it. So we did it in one night.
Hell yeah.
awesome.
And
It
Oh
just
it's
my
came out
God.
of nowhere.
amazing.
That old album.
It's
Yeah, go ahead.
amazing how it is. Like, for example, right now, you guys are talking to me, and I am in the middle of my basement down in St. Louis. And
Uh,
just the fact that, we can produce
mhm.
amazing things with just a computer and the appropriate microphones and or
Mhm.
inputs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the technology really has changed.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm just it makes me
Yeah. I mean,
very happy.
Yeah.
yeah.
It took
Yeah.
me a little while
Definitely.
to make the jump from knobs and switches and
Yeah.
boards
I'm
and
gonna tell
stuff
you,
into the digital
Uh-huh.
side. But
it's really cool because I used to just go and give my bass, like go to the when we had headquarters in San Francisco. I would
Uh-huh.
go and spend about an hour or so just playing anything on the bass, and Marston would take the samples and he incorporate them into a song,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is kind of a good way to, you know, to save, me flying out and put down the bass, whatever.
Yeah.
Just I just send, he would just, I would just play bass all while I'm there, and he'd take the little bits of pieces and put together, songs, for the album.
Yeah.
So,
You Charles actually did this in St. Louis at one in particular time, from what I've heard, uh, that you went into a place called Smithley Recording Studios,
mhm.
and there was an engineer by the name of Justin. And Justin actually recorded you doing these things for loops and everything like that.
Yeah,
And I remember he told me about it. I'm like, great. Can you find the loops?
yeah,
And well, he's still looking for them. He's
uh
not
huh,
done yet. He's still
uh huh,
looking for them. But
uh
man, oh man, the funny thing is, Justin and I, we had a band together at one in particular time called Glitch Factor. And
huh.
that's why he recorded Strange Love
Mm-hmm.
for this
The
Wow.
compilation album.
compilation, yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah, damn,
Wow.
awesome,
So it all comes back around,
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
yeah, yeah,
So
awesome, awesome,
that puts us in an interesting spot for the next question.
okay.
yeah.
You have remixed for tracks for Collide, Pig, the Electric
Mhm.
Hellfire Club.
Yep.
That's just to name a few.
Yeah.
Who are some of the other artists you've worked with, and do you have a favorite?
Oh man. Well, let's see. There was one in particular time. There was a band, a gothic band called The Last Dance.
Hmm.
And I met them when I was a sound engineer at this venue called the Masquerade in Ybor
Mm,
City, Florida.
Yeah.
keyboard.
And they came on down, and like I said, first time meeting them, everything like that, really kind of floored. And I said, that's fantastic. And the one thing that I always say to bands that I enjoy is basically tell them, hey, if you ever want a remix, you can
Mm,
always count on me. And so they actually took me up on the offer.
yeah.
And I did a song called Nightmares that was in the Reflections of Rage album of theirs. And I pumped up the tempo from like 120 to 128, and I added in a little bit of heavy metal guitar thanks to an old friend of mine named Spider. Yes, people named
Mm,
Spider.
yeah.
Um, but kind of threw something together, and they ended up using it. And it's one of those things. I'm still friends with them, here and there to this day.
Yeah.
Just the fact that They didn't know who I was. I was not going to really tell them, hey, I was a former member of the Genitorturers and all that, because I
Yeah.
don't know. To me, it's like
Yeah.
if you
You're
keep
sorry.
using that, it's sort of like when Al Bundy from Married with Children would always talk about that touchdown that he made in high school, even though he sells shoes this day. And
Yeah.
I'm not shitting anybody who's a shoe salesman, but
Yeah.
what I am saying is just, you always got to keep moving forward. You always got
Yeah.
to keep on with new stuff. So that was I think very good in the fact that they they took a chance on a complete stranger. And most people are like, oh, who's this sound guy talking to me?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's this guy.
Yeah.
yeah. And next thing you know, they're using it. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
Definitely.
you co-wrote the Bad Side of Love with our friend Betty X. Like, what's it
Yes.
writing music with her?
Oh man, it was fun. It was really a lot of fun. We had at the time I was living in a house that once again did not have central air. Seems to be a running theme with me.
Yeah.
Um, and I literally had all my keyboards set up in this one room. And I don't know, the design of Florida rooms, they would actually, what they would do is sometimes you would have stairs and it would just go up to this one in particular room that had like a big central fan and windows. And the idea was that all the heat would escape through that area.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The room was so beautiful in its size and the fact that I could look out into windows all across the place. So
Mhm.
I set up my studio there. We called it Hotter Than Hell Studios.
Nice.
And I mean, it was the thing that I really enjoyed about it was just, she would come to me with just such an abstract concept for a
Mhm.
song, and she would just let me go to town. I mean,
Mhm.
there's some of that stuff used loops from like Robert Plant.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not going to tell you
Yeah.
which one. And someone and like all these different things. There's a song we had called Teen Dream that in a little section had like some cheerleaders going 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? And that was just me looping like 30 times this girl that we knew named Babylon, who then ended up in our vocal booth, and she almost passed out from the heat.
Oh
So
Lord.
but
Got some hot fingers.
it was a lot of fun recording those songs.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
because I
Yeah.
think with Betty, the wonderful thing is, yeah, she could do the sort of Rob Zombie-ish sort of thing, but to me, my favorite aspect of what she does is this sultry blues inspired Barry Adamson
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Angelo
Yeah.
Badalamenti sort of
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that like it's bluesy and it reminds me of like Twin Peaks
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
You got
She's
into
very
that,
good
yeah.
Yeah.
at that.
just
Yeah.
really this
Yeah.
otherworldly sort of sound.
And she's got
And
such a sultry voice. I
yeah, she
mean,
really does,
you know.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I know what song that she's doing for the '90s compilation. I don't want to put it out right now, but let's just say it's an absolutely perfect song for what she does.
Oh,
Oh
so
wow. Wow.
totally intrigued now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I'll tell you the artist. It's David Bowie,
Oh,
and it's
Uh,
one of those things where like David Bowie to me is a perfect answer to anything.
Yeah.
Do you want a compilation for the '90s? What song should I do? Something by
uh,
David Bowie.
Yeah.
You want to
yeah.
do something for the '70s? Something by David Bowie. The
Yeah.
'80s?
Yeah.
Something by David Bowie. If you're thinking, what am I gonna have for lunch today? Something by David Bowie.
David Boy.
Yes. I can see him on the wall behind you.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. I've
Oh
I've got a
yeah.
bust on my bedroom wall. I've got the bust from the movie The Hunger. So
Hmm.
it's the full head thing. And at work, sitting right next to me on the wall is the one from The Man Who Fell to Earth. It's
Yeah.
just the face. But yeah, what absolutely one of my hugest inspirations in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a
Very
track
much.
um that has a David Lynch kind of feel. Uh Fatefall off of
Mm-hmm.
uh off of the urban soundtrack. It's called Fatefall. And
Yeah.
I like that David Lynch kind of, risque, you know,
Oh yeah.
dissonant, scared, you know, baby was born in the bathroom off the
Mm-hmm.
highway of hell. Yeah, that's I like that kind of that tonage. Yeah, and
Beautiful.
I play guitar on it too. But yeah, want to get some stuff out. Want to get stuff. Want to play. We
Oh,
want
we're
to
gonna
do
make
it.
it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have I have a list in my head.
Hmm.
And that list in my head, it says like, okay, guitar. I was fortunate enough to work on a project with the folks in Collide. They did this song called The Secret Meeting, this
Mm-hmm.
band project sort of they did. And it was them and Dean Garcia from Curve.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And I
yeah.
was fortunate enough to say that, I remixed something with my favorite guitarist, who is also a bassist, I know, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
favorite guitarist, Dean Garcia,
yeah,
because Curve, I mean, I would
yeah,
fall asleep listening to Curve just so
yeah,
that this way I could get those tones ingrained in my head
Yeah.
because they
yeah,
were so good. So
Yeah.
good.
yeah, yeah.
So I have that. I have also, let me grab this here. Well, let me throw everything around in my recording studio here. But I was also fortunate enough. I don't know if you see here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Stuart Copeland and Ricky Cage put out an album called Divine Tides, which is sort of a new agey sort of thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I knew Ricky from the Recording Academy because for a while I was a member there, and I said to Ricky, if you ever need a remix, and he called me out on it, and all of a sudden I got
Nice.
myself and a number of other remixers to kind of come in and do that entire album in a
Wow.
more electronic form. So that made me
Oh,
happy.
Oh,
So
that's
that was my
awesome.
favorite drummer of all time, Stuart Copeland.
Nice.
And now I get a chance to work with Charles Levi,
Yeah.
my favorite bassist.
There you
thank
go.
you.
Okay, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm marking the ticks off, you know, and I
Uh-huh.
gotta admit, I am so very fortunate
Yeah.
to
Yeah, you
to
are.
you know to have that.
I'm
Plus,
fortunate to have you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, the musicians that I've got around me now with Madison and with Kara and all the different people, I'm really very fortunate and excited to work with,
Thank you. Well, I'm very fortunate myself.
Yeah.
Just man. So just the idea. I'm work on my bass, do my bass skills,
Hmm.
for about an hour after we do the interview and stuff. But keep my rudiments going. But man, it's just I got lots of friends who want me, I did a remix for I don't know who it was, some label,
Hmm.
and it was cult the cult songs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was one called The Witch, and
Yes. That was on the Cool World soundtrack, which I
Yes, it
think you
was.
were also on.
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
David Bowie was
and
on that too. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and it was it was that was my first introduction to doing remixes, but more so producing them. Like
Hmm.
Yeah.
having producing like everyone gets together, we're sitting in a room, and I say, oh man, I'm feeling this groove, I'm feeling this,
Yeah.
and that's the mix. And
Yeah.
getting bands that are really rough by the edge. It was a band that was so into Skinny Puppy, and they sounded like Skinny Puppy. And the last thing I looked at the picture of the band, and it was a girl singer, and I didn't even hear her in the track. And I go, no, we're gonna make this. They're gonna sound like garbage. they're gonna sound like garbage on crack,
Yeah.
and they rocked. They
And
rocked it. That was
I know that Joey Galvan here and I share an absolute love for Shirley Manson.
Oh, you don't want to get me started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know.
Oh, dude, you don't even know. Like they could tell you.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm right there with you. I am
Yeah.
right there with you.
She's the sweetest person in the world. She just
Hmm.
her and Butch and they've done so much for me and they've been the kindest people in the world over the years. And
yeah.
meeting
Oh,
them
that's
like after
great.
being a fan since I was 14, like for their first
Hmm.
album, and I don't know,
Hmm.
here my friend gave like when you become a fan of a band, you have people that just give you things. Like my friend
Right.
gave me like a feather from her boa, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh wow.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Just, I mean,
Oh,
like he gave me
dude, that's
this. I mean,
awesome.
I've met them and I have all their autographs and all kinds of crazy stuff from them. But like, just
Yeah.
people start giving you stuff that's just like,
Yeah,
are you kidding?
yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
but
used
Shirley's
to
been a sweetheart to me over the years.
I used to have a signed copy of the Downward Spiral from Trent. It would just
Yeah.
hey Vince and Trent Reznor and
I'll
all
check
of
this
us.
out. My friend gave me that.
Ah,
Yeah.
Wow.
oh.
You know that guy, the most Mr. Lifto.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Good knows.
I
Old friend
remember
of mine
him.
from Seattle too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All
And
right.
I had it for a while until someone I knew that was a heroin addict kind of stole it from me and pawned
Ouch.
it. But yeah.
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 What
Oh
is
well.
there?
Yeah. I've
Oh
That
well.
lost
shit
a lot of
Yeah.
happens.
stuff to drugs and stupidity myself. It's
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Same
Yeah,
here.
no.
I,
I
I, I
got
think I
you.
think I think for some people it's part of growing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's a good
you're
way to
not
put
really a grown up until you can say, "Oh, hey, yeah."
Yeah. I would
it.
agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
So,
try and share my screen, guys. Bear with me 1 second if I can.
Okay.
Um, let's see. More share screen.
mm,
One
mm,
participant.
I hope it's not
There we
like
go.
some kind of really damning picture of me.
That's not, can you see
No.
that?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
That's not too
There we
oh,
go.
damning.
wow.
No, not
No,
at
that's
all.
cool.
No, that's very flattering. So like
Well,
it's an awesome
yeah.
picture of you. Like who created it and what's the what was used
Oh,
for
I
the
did.
Yeah.
project?
I
Yeah.
did, but basically it was me and I think it was Mid Journey that I
Uh-huh.
used. So basically you take Mid Journey and as long as you get a photo of yourself in the
Hmm.
same kind of pose, I'm fairly familiar with Photoshop.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
just kind of combining the two of what was created with Mid Journey and then
Hmm.
what I create there. That's actually going to be if I ever I always work on a purely solo project as well.
Hmm.
Because let's face it, this little spot here in my
Yeah.
basement, this is where you'll find me if I don't have anything that I'm doing. I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
here, always creating. So that's the actual photo that I'll be using for my release. As soon as I
Yeah.
come up with a name for it,
Yeah.
I've heard you might have access to someone that will be able to help with that.
Yeah.
yes, as a matter of fact, I
Yeah.
do. Yes,
Yeah.
I am absolutely thankful for Madison. She does that. She helps a great deal with the arrangement of the music
Yeah.
because I have a habit that I have to break out of where once I get an 8 bar loop of something, I'm like,
Hmm.
wow, this could be the song. I
Yeah.
love this groove so much, and I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
really grow from
Go
there.
from
But
there. Yeah. Yeah. Same
Madison,
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
comes in and
Yeah.
she knows how to take it and turn it into a song, how to do the
Yeah.
right turnarounds, how to do the right
Nice.
Yeah.
and
That's what I have to do with the couple of recent releases that the tracks that we sent you
mm-hmm.
that Chris has.
Yeah,
Christopher has to do that more. I call Bangalore. He has to do that more because
Yeah.
we've
yeah,
got some really good um, tracks. It's just since we're until I get my setup right, I
right,
can I can do variables. But
Yeah.
so far, he's gotten it pretty much. Um, I like the track that we just did where it has you know some strings, some real good soundscapes, you
Hmm.
know,
He's
and
got an amazing ear.
that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
Chris.
soundscapes.
He's very talented. I'm
Yeah,
just blown away by the stuff he does.
and
Yeah.
so and as far as a live show, like just like Tom Waits
Hmm.
performing and the music playing, all done by us, the artists. It's all it doesn't, Chris Curse does that, where he performs it,
Yeah.
but have it elaborate, more of elaborate, but not expensive setup to pull this off.
Yeah.
You can pull
Oh,
it
yeah.
off with lighting and just the tracks itself,
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much.
These days,
No
it's
more.
amazing what you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
I use when it comes to live, I have some software called Ableton Live.
Hmm.
I have that
Everybody
too.
loves Ableton Live.
Yeah.
And what I do is Madison, she'll fire off the loops in real time
Hmm.
of the song through this Ableton controller that we have.
Hmm.
And it is amazing just how you can
Hmm.
take the studio experience, chop it so that you still have the live energy,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
but but perform it almost letter perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
I say almost because I know I'm gonna flub a keyboard solo here
Yeah.
and there, but a little grace note we call it, a little whoop,
Yeah.
what,
It's
what
called
they call it?
character.
What do
yeah.
they call it? They call it
I
uh
call it jazz.
yeah, jazz. Yeah,
Oh,
man,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So,
Man. So
Vinny,
Yes.
who are some of the most important artists that have influenced you musically? I mean, I've been
Oh
speaking
man.
about you being versatile. I put up a post about that yesterday. I was diving deep into some of your stuff, the
And I
SoundCloud and
thank you.
whatnot. And
Yes.
yeah, so
You
and we've
actually
heard you
found
talk
some of
about
the
some
stuff that
people.
you found some of the weird stuff that I would never release.
It was
Um,
awesome. It was so awesome, man.
yeah, well, let's see. Um, I started, and this was the kind of funny thing was I started in 1986 or 87 when I was a 16-year-old kid and I was in my high school show choir, so
Wow.
imagine Glee and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the red and white tuxedos and everything.
Uh-huh.
But I had a friend of mine named Joe Piazza, and he was listening to something on his Walkman. Yes,
Yes.
Walkman,
I
dating
remember.
myself there. And he was so into it. And I asked him, I said, "What is it you're listening to?" And instead of telling me, he rewound it to a certain spot, took off his headphones, put them on my head, and pressed play. And that was the keyboard solo to The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, the song In the Cage by
Oh,
Genesis. This was
oh
Tony
my God.
Banks at his finest.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that was okay. We talk about moments in time
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shape you.
Mm-hmm.
That was my very first moment that made me say, okay, I want to be a musician because this sound is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I never heard anything like that before. I mean, my two sisters, they were into Seals and Crofts and yacht rock music. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
We will
okay.
never touch this way again.
Yeah. and
Oh my.
And so, there was that. And I also remember another moment, though, when I was like 12 or 13, when watching Saturday Night Live and Frankie Goes to Hollywood was the
Oh,
musician.
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
And
I remember
Live
that
band,
show.
great,
Yeah, that was
great,
yeah,
great,
amazing. Yeah.
great live band.
I was also high school. I was just graduating in 86.
I
mm-hmm,
I
And
I saw that
yeah.
show, Joe, and it was at a theater in Chicago called the Bismarck.
uh-huh,
And I worked for Jam, and I had to watch them do sound check. And they were
yeah,
going through When Two Worlds Go to War. Who
Oh
nailed me?
man.
And they were playing. They were jamming. They were sound checking to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the show starts, after missing persons open up for them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
wow.
they
That's
uh
amazing.
yeah, they
Yeah.
got on stage, they were playing, and all of a sudden the main floor sort of got smaller. And what happened was the floor was sinking.
Hey,
I know the floor was sinking, and
too
then
many people.
Holly, the singer, goes, "Excuse me, I think we've sunk the Bismarck." And everybody just
Oh
like
my God, that's
when he
awesome.
said that, the whole place stopped from screaming to
Yeah.
laughing, and but the whole floor had sunk down,
Oh
and
Wow.
wow.
and it was noticeably because I was like looking, I was like, why are these people? They're not, they're dancing and stuff, and everybody's going downwards. And what kind of mosh pit is that? They're all
we've
in the middle,
we've
and
sunk the Bismarck. I
they
love
sunk
that.
the
That's
Bismarck.
brilliant. That's
I think
brilliant.
we've sunk the Bismarck.
Oh
And
my God.
I had to run out, ran to run down and pull people up and stuff.
Right.
But they kept playing the show, and all the instruments were live.
But I would
Nice.
say, oh yeah, yeah, very much
Yeah,
so. I to me, hearing that music was the first time that I would definitely say, wow, this is something that is not for my sisters. It's for
hmm
my generation.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's for me. So here I am. I'm so excited about music now. And I turned to a friend of mine by the name of Al in high school, and he said he was a drummer, and
hmm
he said, well, if you don't know an instrument by now, it's probably too late.
late. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned to a teacher, Mr.
Uh-huh.
John Sarno, who's my high school music theory teacher, because I actually took 2 years of music theory before I learned an instrument. I,
Oh
I
yeah,
just wanted to learn the theory.
yeah,
Um, but he said, hey, you're great with computers, you're great with math. Let me show you something. And he showed
yeah,
me MIDI for the first time and how a
yeah,
computer can interact with the synthesizer.
yeah.
And boom, my mind just opened up. And
Oh,
I
that's
still
awesome.
talk to Mr. Sarno to this day and age. He's one of my
Oh
best friends.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, from way back when.
Wow,
Yeah,
But
brilliant.
it's wild. That's great.
yeah,
Marston, uh, uh, some lighting. We would go to the venue,
uh-huh.
and the house lighting would go. Okay, what's the setup? And he goes, oh no, we run our lights MIDI.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, they were like, what? He says, no lights, don't worry. We're running it MIDI. So they had
Mm-hmm.
a junction. We had a case that ran our lights
Yeah.
MIDI.
Yeah,
And that was like guys were like lighting guys were like, what the hell? They were surprised.
yeah.
And and some of them would try to squeeze in and do lights anyway. But no. Because I know some guys that got some really good jobs doing lights.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But he ran the lights MIDI. So with
Yeah.
Thrill Kill, we had our own lights with the music and everything. And that was the first time I didn't know that. I realized, I go, why are all these guys getting excited that you're running the lights MIDI? He goes, because nobody's doing that, Chooch.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, really? No. He said,
Yeah.
that's new.
Yeah.
But it's so simple. We
Yeah.
have, I know somewhere around the studio here, I have one of those DMX's
Uh,
controllers. Oh,
Yeah.
there it is. And because yeah, we run lights through Ableton Live when we perform live as well.
yeah.
There's even I've even done lectures about how you could synchronize video along
Uh,
with Ableton Live. And
Yeah.
so
oh, wow.
video, lights, all the sound, live effects. It's
Mm,
amazing what you could do these days on a live stage.
Yeah.
mm, mm,
Mhm.
mm.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know Depeche Mode, whenever they had a tour, they had a live drummer with,
yeah,
and with that live drummer, to get him to sound like the various and different songs from way back when,
yeah.
they would actually run his parts into Ableton Live and trigger samples that way
Oh wow.
Oh,
from the old
wow.
songs. And it's amazing what you could do. It
Yeah.
is
Wow.
absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a program. I was pulling up when I got into to this Mixcraft, figuring out how to put, rhythms into my template. And what happened was I got I went for a loop. When I went to the loop, it kept going into this program. And I was like, why is it going there? And it was called Microsoft, uh, uh, I guess, pinup. And
Okay.
and what it was I had the loop track looped up, and the video it showed me where I can paste the screens, the panels
Right.
for
Right.
each
Right.
shot. And I was thinking, wow, I can do video. So you should have seen me, Vinny. I was like, yeah, yeah. I had
Mhm.
a backing track with a video, urban
Nice.
video. And
Yeah.
then I go to save it, and it goes, well, you can't save it, buddy. You got to
Oh,
get the
geez.
rest of the shit. And I was like, what? And then all the
You
samples I
need
was
you need a
getting
better
kept
version.
going there. Yeah. So I was like,
Oh.
oh, fuck
Oh
this.
man.
I was like, fuck this,
Yeah.
but I was having fun like crazy, and it wouldn't save it, so I was mad. So I guess there's something. I guess it's something a yearly
Mhm.
subscription.
Yeah.
Subscribe for the year. And I'm like, I can't do that now. You
Yeah.
know, give me some convalescence. Give me an AARP deal. We own something there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ARP for artists and
yeah.
musicians. Yep.
Yeah, I always liked the logo. Even though I didn't need it, I always liked the logo ARP. I always thought it was something, you
Yeah.
know.
What I
Oh,
get
that's
I get
awesome.
that in the mail all the time, and every
Yep,
Yeah.
me
time I
too.
see it, I'm like, no, I'm not ready for this yet. I am not
Yeah.
ready.
Oh, I
I
was so
Uh,
still got
happy when they
more.
sent me mine. They're like, "You're 55 now. Here you go." And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
"Oh."
I saw someone they had one. They go, you can get it now. You don't have to be 55. I was like, what? You can get it now? That's fucking bullshit. No, that's bullshit. Man,
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Danny was like, someone said that they can get it now. And Danny was like, I've been waiting all this now. I'm 50 and I get it. And you get it now any time.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
I'm
yeah,
not ready. I still got a lot more to prove.
yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Vinny, what are your some of your favorite artists in your current playlist rotation, and what entices you about them?
Oh man, let's see. Well, let's see. I would say some of my favorite. Well, number one, there will always be, if we're talking like a playlist, there will always be at least one Peter Gabriel song and
Yeah,
one David Bowie song somewhere in
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Just because it's one of those things where they're absolutely perfect,
Yeah.
uh,
yeah.
and they can do no wrong.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Absolutely.
but as far as like the things that I really enjoy, uh, modern band like Pendulum,
Oh,
Hmm.
Pendulum, which combines to me the best parts of metal and rock with
Yeah.
drum and bass music.
Mm.
And
Okay.
if you've ever
I'm check there.
seen,
yeah.
oh, Pendulum, they have this version of Metallica's Master of Puppets
Oh, wow.
that
Oh, okay.
they switch around the beat to give it more of that Aphrodite kind of drum and bass beat. But
Nice.
man, does it work. Oh, does it work.
Awesome.
Oh
And
wow.
Hmm.
yeah, so there's that. Pendulum is fantastic. Uh, Vocal harmonies, there's a band called Tesseract that
Oh,
does like, sort of metal stuff.
Texas Rex
Abs
like the Marvel.
Yeah, Tesseract.
mm.
Yeah.
So, well, I
Yeah,
mean, the
from Marvel.
same
Yeah, there you go.
same
Yeah,
term, but
yeah.
Yeah.
the term tesseract has actually been around for Carl
I'm serious.
Sagan and Cosmos.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's where I first heard it.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of
Yeah.
things that they do that are just really interesting as far as the music. I just to me there's that, and then I'll admit I love listening to the shit I make.
yeah, yeah. That's
I'm
just
s- I
That's
know
good,
that
man.
sounds bad, but
no, no, no.
No,
But
no,
you
it's
one
got
of
it
the
like that, man. You got it
yeah.
like that. Because when
One
you
of the
got it like
reasons
that, you
why
do
I
that.
became a musician, why
Yeah,
I became an engineer was because I wasn't entirely happy with the things that I was listening to.
yeah,
So, pull a little from this, a little from that, a little
yeah,
from
yeah,
this. All of a
yeah,
sudden, we got something great.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool.
So
Yeah,
that to
definitely.
me, I mean, those are some examples. I will always listen to Massive Attack.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
always listen to like Henry's Dream from Nick Cave and the Bad
Oh,
Seeds.
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
excellent.
Um,
Yeah.
which another one, let's see, another one I would say is Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode had
Uh,
a side project of his called the Soul Savers.
Hmm.
uh,
And that is Dave Gahan doing the vocals, and all the instruments are more of your classic instruments.
Mhm.
Here's a drummer, here's a guitar player, here's a keyboard
uh,
player playing the organ, you know,
Mhm.
mm,
and it's just, yeah, it's some really wonderful stuff there.
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
You
Okay.
know, you know what I just listened to recently? I
Mhm.
listened to Talk Talk.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Ah, nothing there.
it's
I
it's
thought there was water in there. Sorry.
I no, yeah, I'm a little parched myself,
Yeah.
but but no, I like the I'm trying to think of the name of the album. It's got the little flowers all over it,
Right,
but
right.
it's some tracks, it's some good stuff to sample from there. The
Yeah.
drum, the beats, the drums,
Yeah.
tracks and stuff, and their different strings, the OB and the bass
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
tones sound really good. Uh, and his pleading voice, that's what you make it,
Yeah.
don't teach, that's
Yeah.
Well,
really, I love that, but the stuff is, it's just really fueling the need to be more creative.
yeah.
That's what it is, Vinny.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Um, that's I just want all my friends, all you guys, to be just to shine and rise, keep rising up,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we keep creating. Maybe we'll get a soundtrack for the podcast.
That'd be a
We
good
should do
idea.
that. We
Yeah,
Enough
absolutely
people.
should.
yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get a soundtrack for this podcast. That'll be a good thing. And yeah, we take you know a little bit of from all of us,
Yeah.
and whip it together. And uh, I want to talk more about. I want to find out more about the label
Hmm.
that you're doing and stuff, and it makes and maybe get some correspondence with that.
Yes.
And I want to also try to send out your different send out your different extensions of your or your projects,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that a list so that people can go to it after this podcast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know. I mean,
For that matter, I mean, yeah, you look at if you go to paralunarecords.com, down at the way at the bottom, you'll see a little news item that I put in there that's basically just artist spotlight for Giant Monsters on the Horizon, where you click that, and not only do you see some of the artwork that we've put together for the next album coming
mhm.
out, but down at the bottom, we even have a music video we put together
Hmm.
for one of our songs called Damnatio Memoriae.
Oh,
Basically, that's the term that means destroying physical objects to remove yourself of the memory of them.
Ooh,
oh, okay,
I
okay,
like
So,
that.
like
yeah, that's
the easiest example is taking a photo and ripping it in half and throwing it
Yeah.
away because you don't want to be reminded of what's in
uh,
that photo.
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
word.
yes, there is an actual Latin term for it.
There's
Yeah.
those
Once
Latins.
again, that's Madison coming up with these amazing titles.
Oh,
Pericus
yeah.
ludicus.
Hmm.
Peritus, Pericus ludicus.
Yeah.
And what
I
is
had a
that?
very good friend in Rome named
Ah,
Bigusticus.
oh, with incontinentia buttocks.
Yeah.
I remember that movie. What a great
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
So, well, okay. Well, so how long have we been? We've gotten this. Have we covered the rounds, Joey? You think?
I think
We've
Joe's got
got
one
one
more.
question left.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
one question left. Joey, you want
Lay
to
it
take
on
this?
me.
yeah.
Yeah, I can do this if you want.
Yeah.
Get my voice all good. All right, so no pressure, no pressure. All right, so what does the future hold for giant monsters on the horizon in addition to other projects you're working on, Vinny?
Oh man, what does the future hold?
Mhm.
Well, I know in the immediate future, we are putting out an album called Night City Redux. And the reason why we call it Night City Redux is because um, after we put out the Revolt album,
Mhm.
we wanted to change around a few things. And all of a sudden, Madison, she did a very good job of uh, convincing me that I should also be in the front of the band.
Yeah,
And so we put out a series of songs where I'm actually singing vocals and doing, doing a lot of the instrumentation,
hmm
but mainly the fact that all of a sudden now I'm coming up with lyrics. Now we're coming up with vocals. Now all of a sudden we're doing that, and I'm, trying my best to, give me that whole vibe there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we put out an album, and I'll tell you when we put out an album called Live from Night City,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it did fairly well.
Yeah.
Uh, but we put it out in March 2020. And
Uh,
when you put something out in March of 2020,
Vinny,
where all of a sudden the rest of the universe, the rest of the
universe.
world is saying, oh shit, what's happening? The electric grid is going to go down. We're all
Yeah,
dying from a disease. I got to learn
yeah,
how to bake bread now. I got to learn how to garden for my own
yeah,
food.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
yeah.
Oh
No,
Lord, where do I find a
Jesus.
horse and buggy? Because now the supply chains are going to be gone.
Yeah. Lord
So,
help me.
with
Yeah.
all this panic that was going on in the world at the time,
Mhm.
now we got this one guy with red hair telling me that I need to drink bleach. What the hell is he saying? And sorry, I know. I'm always told, don't make it political, Vinny. Don't make it political, Vinny. But I have to. Um,
Oh man.
but the thing is that when that happened and everything fell apart, I mean, the clubs weren't sure if they were going to continue anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
I have my best friend in Florida is a guy by the name of Tom DeGeorge. He runs a venue down there, at least until 2026, he says, but he runs a venue called the Crowbar down in Florida.
We have one here
Oh,
And
too.
Oh, I've heard
yeah.
that one. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, Tom is he's a genius. He's a wonderful guy. And he was actually the best man at my wedding.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Is he from
but
Chicago?
no, he's actually from Pittsburgh, but there
Oh,
is probably some kind of Chicago connection there. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. It used to be a guy from Chicago top moved up, opened up a uh, crowbar in South Beach.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, this is Ybor City.
hmm
So I don't know what the legalities are as far as, this one's a crowbar, that one's a crowbar, but
Yeah.
it's a fantastic venue that he has down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to think of where I was leading with this.
Well,
Joe, can you help me
Joe,
out here?
You
Tom,
giant monsters on the horizon,
Yes.
future projects,
yeah,
what you're working
Yeah.
on, what's
So
next for
what
Vinny?
happened was we released the album out in 2020, March of 2020, and it kind of comparatively fell on deaf ears. I mean, Revolt was doing great. it was actually picked up for a little bit by CD Projekt Red, which is the company that makes the Cyberpunk 2077 video games.
Yeah.
And they grabbed it for a playlist that they were doing to get people into it. And all of a sudden, we just start seeing that amazing Spotify $16 a month. Woo. Hey, there's a big fungool to all the musicians as from Spotify. But anyway, don't make it political, Vinny. Don't make it political. So we decided take those songs because another thing that happened was I got myself very sick to the point where there was kidney failure and I had an infection in my left lung that they literally had to go in surgically, open up, come in and start scraping out all of the infection.
Oh, wow.
And to this day, the left lung only has a small percentage of the capacity that the right lung has. So I no longer have the singing voice that actually put me on that album. So that's why we found Kara. And Kara is a blessed, wonderful singer. And so we're taking a lot of those songs that we have done and putting together a new album just to say, here, this is how it should be performed. So there's that. And then other than that, I know we did let's see, we recently did an independent soundtrack for a movie. A friend of ours that actually had a little movie that was shot here in St. Louis, all about the PSD-like symptoms of time travel.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, think about it. If you're doing time travel, there could be some neuroses that hits you from altering reality.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I love it when people get deep with their subject matter for stuff.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Makes our job easy.
Yeah, it
does. So we put together a soundtrack there. Some of that will be coming out, and then who knows where it's going to go from there. The wonderful thing is, after I do those two things, it's going to free me to just, I mean, who knows? From there, I'm also going to grow Paraluna to have multiple tribute albums and to eventually take any artist that are interested to have them released through Paraluna. Just to see how big I can actually grow it.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'll add to that. But awesome. Yeah, definitely. Fucking A.
Man.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
I can say I'm on the label.
Yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah, Charles.
With dignity. Yeah. I'm on the label. I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it where all of a sudden, you're on this, you're on some tracks, and people are like, oh damn, I slept on Charles. What a wrong thing it was to do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because I am not sleeping on you, my friend. I am not.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you.
Vinny, this has been absolutely awesome.
Yeah, great chat. Thank you, Vinny.
I am very, very glad that I've gotten to meet you and talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be able to after, offline, be able to pick your brain a little bit.
You got it. I'm here.
It's been fascinating. I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Glad to be of service. Anytime you want me, you just let me know, okay?
Anytime you want to talk about garbage, you hit me up. I got some stories.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you might regret saying that to either one of us. Yeah.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I I only saw her once at the State Theater, once again down in St. Pete. Oh, what a great show. What a great show.
I've seen her 10 times actually.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you see her with Goodbye, Mr. McKenzie?
Ooh. Wow.
I couldn't even remember the opener. I just remembered, seeing Butch Vig, hearing the fact that, what was it? They said that album they were trying to make an absolute pop record with
Yeah.
disturbing noises in the background.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that's why the term garbage was
Yeah.
their name.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, I just
Yeah.
love things like that.
Yeah.
Hearing these weird
Uh,
sounds in
yeah.
Stupid Girl, right before the call and response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Billy Corgan told me, you were playing in garbage. And I'm like, what? I thought he was talking about me being garbage.
Trashy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a band, you know.
Mhm.
So that's how I was first came to light.
Yeah.
And then I heard it and I go, wow. But I couldn't go. I wanted to play with them, but I couldn't go on tour because I was
Right.
going out with Kill. So that was like no, that wasn't happening because we were crossing cities
Right.
and I ran into them in Cleveland. I saw them at Bogarts in
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland. And I went in and they were doing sound check. And I said, yeah, I'm here, guys. I couldn't make it no I'm starting to tour off here. You know, and they like looked at me like, who's this guy? Oh, it's you. Oh, you know.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, it was funny. It was funny. It was funny. It was a cold night too.
Oh
But
man.
yeah. But
Imagine what that would have been with
yeah.
Charles playing bass for garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. I
Wow.
know.
Yeah.
I
That's
know. I know.
wow.
I know. That's one thing I have to say about Billy Corgan. He was cool with me, but
Yeah.
for him to refer to me was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, I
I
was,
uh I met him twice.
uh,
One in particular after a show in Lakeland. I had a friend of mine, I think his name was Jono from way back when. Yes, Jono. And he was on the tour. So he took myself and a few other friends of ours and just dropped us in a room. And all of a sudden, we just realized, oh shit, this is Billy Corgan's dressing room. But for all that,
uh,
Billy was actually so cordial,
yeah,
so kind,
yeah,
and I mean, he really gave some great advice and everything. Because at the time, I was just a young upstart musician,
Yeah.
yeah,
didn't really
yeah.
have anything going for me, but I had my little local band by the name of Shadowcraft. Ooh, spooky.
Hey,
Yes,
I like it.
spooky.
yeah.
And yeah, I just Billy was like, when you present yourself in the best way possible. You don't have anything to be ashamed of. You can't
Uh,
have anything to be
you
ashamed of.
say it,
Yeah.
because your ass
Yeah,
is out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So all in all, yeah, really good guy, really good guy.
yeah, yeah. So, and like you're a really good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
try. I
yeah,
try. I
There
mean,
you go.
it's one of those things where I suddenly realize, you have a gift, you got to use the gift for good.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know and I
yeah.
have a penchant for being able to put together some good songs that are a little edgy.
Mm,
I have just enough knowledge of a bass guitar or a
mm-hmm.
guitar or a keyboard to be
You're
dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I just keep on going, keep on
yeah,
doing, and
yeah,
find a
yeah.
way
So,
to get that music and make it helpful
uh,
to people.
Well, you give old
yeah.
codgers like myself give me hope.
Yeah,
You give me hope.
yeah. I'm a little, yeah, really gave me some
Yeah.
hope. Hope like,
Yeah.
but I'm, I'm gonna get jumped when I get off from here. I'm
Mhm.
gonna join. I'm gonna check in on Bangalore, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to some stuff, more tracks, grab me some more samples, or whatever.
Mhm.
And I don't know what your schedule is going to be, Vinny, but uh, I'll tell you when we get off. I'll tell you what's going on with the setup I have here.
Okay.
And
Mm.
and you said Randall Fraser with Legendary Pink Dots. He's
Yeah.
he's been really helpful too, but he's out with some with a group, another group.
Right.
Debauchka.
Yeah, Chabaska, yeah. So he's gonna pop in on me, when he get a chance. He's in the
Yeah.
mountains, so he's gonna roll down the mountain and scope up on my ass. But I don't know. But we'll figure out how we'll rendezvous after we
So I
after
have
we
to
do that.
admit,
Mm.
I have to admit that Facebook has been exceptionally good for me.
Okay.
And the reason why I say this is because, yeah, granted, I had a little bit of a problem. I have a 10-year-old son and an 8-year-old son. And the 10-year-old son turned to the 8-year-old who was playing some game on his little MetaQuest device.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, at this in particular point, I want you to put in this secret code to get new stuff." And the secret code that he put in was KKK.
Oh, wow.
Oh, oh.
He's 10 years old. He doesn't know.
I know he doesn't know.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So he just did that because he heard it on YouTube or something like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
next thing you know, my son, my 8-year-old, is canceled on this game. And then next thing you
Oh,
know, my Facebook account, which is attached to his MetaQuest device, all of a sudden the old one gets canceled.
oh, wow,
So
wow.
Whoa.
it's disabled. I couldn't do a thing. No
Yeah,
more of my conversations are still there. So I literally this year had to start Facebook from scratch.
Yeah.
But you know
damn.
what?
Yeah,
It got me in touch with so many people
Mhm.
that
yeah.
I look up to. I mean, talk
Uh,
about downloading all that
Yeah.
legendary pink dots,
Mhm.
Mark
yeah,
Spivey being one of them.
yeah,
Um,
Great person.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
got, I met with your guest last week.
Uh,
Was it
Daryl.
something
Daryl,
Hell?
Or
Daryl
Daryl
Hell.
Hell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Montgomery Hill, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And just the fact that he was working with EBN,
yeah,
Emergency
Mhm.
Broadcast Network,
Yeah.
which to me it was just a genius thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
for
You
sure.
yeah.
know, I mean, especially
Yeah.
the
That was a
stuff they did
fascinating conversation we had.
with
Yeah.
Jack Dangers from Meat Beat
Oh,
Manifesto.
he's a
Oh, I like
genius.
Wow.
Jack. Yeah, I love
Mm,
Jack.
I want to
Yeah,
get him on the show.
so good.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
Oh,
would
yeah,
nice. That
love
would be
that.
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. I
I
think
would
we
love
can.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, so like between that, there was a guy who wrote the song Scratch from a band called Contagion back in '92. And all of a
I remember
sudden,
them.
this guy is finding me. So I'm just like, wow, this is
Mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
All at the time when I just started a record label.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
No,
look at
who
that.
knows
seriously.
what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just know I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for the future.
Yeah.
yeah,
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 Vinny,
definitely.
that's the reason my name has an L in it on Facebook. They kicked me off because I wouldn't give them
Oh,
photo ID.
oh,
Uh,
I'm like, okay,
uh,
all right.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
lost a lot of conversations and
yep.
had a lot of stuff. A few friends that are no longer here that I had been holding on to those conversations and those
Oh
just
yeah,
went
yeah.
away too. Yeah.
yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's horrible thing.
I
Horrible.
I had a I had a singer from 10 years ago who unfortunately died. Um, and he was like the one of the perfect vocalists
Mm,
to what it is that I did. And yeah, his conversations are gone now.
yeah.
Wow.
But
Yeah, it's a hard thing to deal with. I'm sorry you had
yeah,
to do that. But
but
I'm
I
glad
don't
you're
want to
back on.
dwell.
I'm glad I'm back on, and I'm
Yeah,
glad we've been connected. So
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
I am
That's a,
I am
yeah. So this is
I
a good one.
yeah,
yeah,
This is a good one.
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. All right. Well,
So
I guess here'd be a
Wrap
good
this up.
spot to maybe chop it up.
Yeah, who wants to do the
yeah.
send off?
Who wants to
Hmm?
do the send off?
Um
Levi?
What is
well
the send off?
yeah, yeah, tell me. Tell me you do the send off because
Okay.
I'll send
Okay,
it off.
okay. You've been watching Industrial Amputation with Joe Average, Charles Levi, and I'm Joey Galvan. And today our featured guest has been Vincent Saletto, and he is in Giant Monsters on the Horizon. And check him out on the amazing compilation, Retronomicon, which benefits Charles Levi. You can find that on Bandcamp. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful evening.
Yes.
You too.
You too.
See you later.
And also with you.
Yeah, thank you.